Here now to talk about this, Steve Hilton, the Next Revolution host and positive populism author. Steve, thanks for being here.
Great to be with you, Jerry.
So, as I say, critical race theory, this idea that all whites are evil and that we all have to be retrained, have our unconscious bias trained out of us, and that special privileges should be advanced to African Americans. It's not a popular theory with a lot of people in the country, and it's being attempted to be taught in schools by many of these progressive authorities. But it's interesting that they're now saying that when states like Texas and other states actually restrict the teaching of critical race theory, the proponents of it are saying, oh, it's not about what we said it is at all. It's really what these states are now doing is they're stopping people from learning about slavery, which, as we know, is a complete fiction. Where is this going?
Well, the whole thing reminds me a little bit about the argument we're having in a completely different context about the coronavirus origins and gain-of-function research. Dr. Fauci says, oh, we weren't funding gain-of-function research. It's something that's just the label that they want you to argue about. But in that case, you can see the record of the actual experiments. They were dangerous and very risky. In this case, no matter what the label is, you can actually see what's being taught in the schools. You can see the curriculum. They actually publish it in California, the new ethnic studies curriculum, and so on throughout the country. And what it does, exactly as you say, is put race at the heart of absolutely everything, and not in a positive way, in a divisive way that tries to actually make people more conscious of race, not less conscious, which is what we all thought we were doing when we were promoting anti-racism. And it's deeply divisive and deeply destructive, whatever you call it.
And, as you say, it's incredibly divisive, and it goes against the grain. Now, look, everybody acknowledges America has, race has long been a deep scar in America. Slavery, segregation, Jim Crow. But the point is, America's advanced and has gone beyond those sins and those failings. And it's gone beyond those sins and those failings by emphasizing, as you say, unity and by being colorblind. And what we seem to be doing now is to be actually returning to a situation beloved of the people who supported Jim Crow, which is that we're going to determine everything by the color of your skin.
Yes, they are literally pushing segregation, segregated spaces on university campuses and so on. And the other really sad thing about it is that the focus on things like the language and the symbols, which is really a big part of this whole agenda, takes away the focus from where it really should be, which is on policy measures that actually advance what we all want to see, which is equal opportunity for all Americans, regardless of race. And when you look at that policy agenda, inevitably you come to the conclusion that it's conservative ideas like strong families, family stability, school choice. Those are the things that actually advance opportunity for everyone, and in fact are the things that many in the black community want to see more of for their neighborhoods. More policing, for example. But we don't get to talk about that because all they want you to do is focus on these symbolic and divisive language-based arguments, and that gets in the way of concrete progress.
And just briefly, Steve, do you think there's a developing backlash against this? We've seen some local election results in some states which have been pushing, in some districts which have been pushing this critical race theory, heavily rejected. Do you think this is actually a political opportunity for Republicans?
Massively, and I think it's both in terms of the policy agenda that I've just outlined, but also in terms of rallying people behind this. This is mostly rejected by Americans right across the board of all races, but they've been cowed. The term I've used in the past is this unilateral cultural disarmament, where it's always been the left that have been using these techniques of boycotts and calling people out and so on, using techniques in terms of investor campaigns in the stock market and for corporate America. I think you're seeing people on the right, conservatives and independents and some Democrats, saying, hang on a second, we're going to fight back. We're going to use those techniques to stand up for the kind of American values that we all really support. And it's a minority that is pushing this divisive agenda. And I think in the end, they're going to lose.
Thanks, Steve. Look forward to the next revolution as ever on Sunday evenings on the Fox News channel. Thanks, Steve Hilton. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you.